Okay, so let's learn about how to learn things faster, more efficient, and effectively. In this information age, we want to organize and learn faster and basically become use that knowledge to produce uh, valuable things, right? So we ask a lot of questions like, how can we learn faster? Is there a shortcut, right? That's the second questions. Well, you don't want to be the consumer all the time, that's for sure, right? You want to be the producer, and how can we bridge the gap between this? Well, there's no shortcut. That's the short answer right there, right? There's no shortcut. But the real question that we should be asking is, how can I understand this knowledge, and how can I use this knowledge within X amount of time and get the product that I want, right? That's the real questions. Well, the X amount of time is basically probably from your boss telling you to, you know, you have to learn this within this amount of time, or you have a competitor and you're competing against another person and you want to learn that uh, knowledge within this X amount of time. Well, we have to go back to the ancient history, right? A lot of Egyptians and ancient civilization use symbolism. It's really good, right? They understand this language because there's a lot of symbolism is embedded within their culture, right? And similarly, like math and such, they use like we use a lot of symbolism, right? Like E represent energy and such. It makes sense because it embedded within our culture, and we understand these because it makes sense. We feel it, we see it, right? But in correlations like this, I don't think I can remember the within like a week or so because it make no sense. There's no context for me, right? So that's why uh, it's useful to understand symbolism and the diagram, because reading a textbook or reading a novel or a fiction, I don't think we can remember the whole book. I don't think we can remember everything about within this book or word to word, right? There's no way. That's if you remember that, that's good, but that's a waste of time, right? Instead, we want to understand the story. What is the core knowledge that we want to learn from? That's what it is. That's the shortcut right there. But that's not what you're saying, right? You want to learn faster than the other guy. That's what we always trying to achieve, right? We want to be smarter than the other guy. But again, the real question is, how can I learn this knowledge faster than yesterday myself, right? So you have to compare yourself. If you compare with the other guy, then that's, yeah, no way, right? So you have to compare yourself, and you start asking the meaningful questions. And first, of course, uh, there has to be easier way to understand things, and that's the symbolism, drawing things, right? And making context out of those uh, knowledge and those diagram, those symbols, and we articulate that diagrams that we draw using our English or whatever language that you learn and you export it. And at the end, we want to share that knowledge. We want to produce the end product, and that's what it is. Knowledge is all about sharing and producing, and use that knowledge. Otherwise, it make no sense, right? So that's what you want, and that's how also you measure your knowledge as well, and that gives a valuable like a value to knowledge that you learn. So uh, and then I really like Elon Musk's way of learning things, because here's the thing: like we have to picture the end product, right? We have to ask ourselves, like, how can I use this knowledge so that it's useful, right? If it's not useful, then is basically the skills that I learn is like useless in this product that I want to build, right? So we have to picture the end product, and then we have to think like uh, Elon Musk, basically, first principle learning, right? And we have to break it down. So we have to break it down to the core components. We picture it, we draw a diagram or whatever, and then we break it down to core components and we ask questions. And if one component is too difficult to handle, we break it down again and we start working from the easiest one, right? So that's why drawing and diagrams and planning from the end is more useful. And obviously, we have to memorize some of the facts that we can't really, it doesn't really change. Like something like, let's say, energy is energy, right? There's no way you can convert that. There's no translating different way of um, how you represent energy, right? Maybe demonstrations that might be useful, right? But we have to memorize facts, right? And facts can be memorized using symbol again, right? How can it trigger your thinking? We have to think it like that. And also, we have to take a break after we learn something, right? Within, let's say, 1 hour or 30 minutes and such, and then take a break. That gives you the gap to process your knowledge and then um, continue. So sometimes the skills that we learn, sometimes the information that knowledge that we learn is useless if the end product is. Well, you might say, like, how can it be like the skills you learn can be transferable to another um, product that you want to build, right? Some of the skills are very particular. For example, laying a brick, right? It's good for laying a brick. I don't think it's good for anything else, right? Um, that knowledge has to be bricklaying, right? Yes, if you can transfer, that's good. But in general, bricklaying technique and skills is useful for bricklaying, right? So we have to be careful with what kind of skills that we learn. So at the end, what we want to get out of is basically the end product. So we have to picture it in our head or draw a diagram, break them down into fundamental components, and then we plan things in reverse, right? So we set a plan and we start learning and building from the easiest one. So we don't tackle the hardest one. We tackle the easiest one, which is basically from the beginning, right? And similarly to the military strategies, they plan the end product, like what their missions, the end missions will look like. And obviously there will be obstacle and such, but oh, that's what it is. Planning is we learn skill set to basically accomplish our mission or the end product that we want to achieve. And we summarize highlights in short summary or uh, drawing diagrams, and then we put everything together into one piece and use our mind maps to connect them together. And that's what the modern age way to learn things faster and organize. And there you go.